Friday, good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for another edition of Midday Live on TV3. I am Wendy Lai. The headlines for this afternoon. Inspector General of Police David Asante-Pietu insists police service is doing its best to crack down on activities of vigilante groups. Organized Labour proposes government to immediately scrap taxes on minimum wage and overtime to reduce the burden on workers. And on the fighting front, Kenya's Electoral Commission says fewer than 34% of registered voters took part in Thursday's rerun of the presidential elections. The details of these and other stories, plus sports, business and entertainment news in the next 1 hour. Do stay tuned. President Akufo-Addo has on many platforms directed the police to deal decisively with the negative vigilantism in the country. Yet groups associated with the ruling NPP continue to attack people with impunity, including even government appointees. The news team asked the Inspector General of Police David Asante-Pietu if the service is overwhelmed by these vigilante groups. Let's hear his response.
It is our duty, our mandate, to ensure law and order. But what somebody intends doing, or crime he has intended to commit, sometimes we are unable to prevent it. It does happen, and it is for us to respond accordingly. Well, someone would say that we should live in a society where all these things should not happen. But it's an ideal one, and I don't know. I don't think it is possible to have a society that is crime-free. They will occur, but our response and how we are able to manage it is what is important.
Is political manipulation one of the challenges the police is facing in dealing with this?
When crimes are committed, we don't give it any color. It's crime. So we deal with it as that.
But when you have groups affiliated to one party or another committing allegedly committing these crimes, when you have groups that are affiliated to one party or another allegedly committing these crimes, doesn't it then make it somehow political?
This is the last question. As a police officer, we deal with crimes. If you are from a political party, you commit a crime, we're going to deal with you accordingly and not as somebody coming from another political party. Thank you.
And this afternoon I have been joined via Skype, and I'll be speaking to Nana Sapon Ajimambedu. He's a member of Occupy Ghana. Good afternoon, Nana, and thanks for your time.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Now, Occupy Ghana has issues with incidences of vigilantism. What exactly is the problem?
All right, thank you very much, and good afternoon to your viewers. Basically, our problem has to do with the manner in which we are dealing with this issue of vigilantism, and taking the last incident that happened in the courts with respect to Delta 13, how these 13 guys were convicted. The manner of the conviction, we were not satisfied with the kind of fines that these guys were given. It was like being treated with kids' gloves. And looking at the number of vigilante activities which has gone on in the country, since late last year, especially coming from groups affiliated with the ruling political party, we are not satisfied with how things have been handled with respect to these guys.
Now, we just watched the IGP who mentioned that the police is doing its best to deal with such incidences. Has the police done enough to deal with vigilantism in the country?
Not at all, because I know one radio station has been able to catalog at least about 18 different cases of such thuggery from these guys, and this is only about the Delta 13 that we've heard of a conviction happening, and even with that, the level of conviction, the fines which are slapped on them is not deterrent enough. So we don't feel that the police has done enough to curb this rate of vigilantism and vandalism by these groups affiliated to the MPP. And so we do not believe the police has done enough.
And how best do you think they should solve this problem, being at the forefront?
I think the police deals with intelligence. And, you know, with some of these things, you may not be able to preempt them, but once they do, they should use the available resources to be able to get some video evidence or the like. With respect to what happened with the court in Kumasi some time back, which was done by an amateur video who couldn't get anybody at all. I mean, there should be, I mean, the police should have enough resources to be able to pinpoint exactly who are involved in this so that we can arrest them and have the good enough evidence to prosecute. But where a case where the police rounds up some people and then later comes back to say that they don't have enough evidence to, you know, prosecute these guys, so they let them go. It gives you the sense of impression that the police seem helpless in reacting to these kinds of actions by these individuals and groups.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. Nana Sapajamabedu is a member and he's of Occupy Ghana. You're still watching Midday Live, and the youth and women's wing of the New Patriotic Party in the Kumewu constituency are protesting an alleged award school feeding contracts to some members of the opposition National Democratic Congress. The groups have threatened to cause mayhem in beneficiary schools if the district chief executive does not rescind the decision. According to the groups, numerous complaints made to the district chief executive have yielded no results. And Secretary for the Youth Wing is Johnson Edu, and he's been speaking with Ibrahim Abubakar, our correspondent in the Shanti region.
You say you've already petitioned the regional minister. What was the outcome of the
regional minister? Told us that they have advised him, and from henceforth, the DC will change and then try to listen to the youth. But from what we are seeing and then from what we are hearing, he is not taking any advice from any party member nor the youth. So we are sending this message to the constituency executives, to the regional executives, to the national executives, that we are suffering here in the Kumawu districts. And that if care is not taken, we the youth, we are going to advise ourselves.
And so staying on the story, the DCE for Seche Kumewu, Samuel Jekum, has denied the allegation made by the youth and women's group.
Feeding, I believe it is not fair that I will comment this publicly because the records are there, and whoever takes and looks at the names of those who are working for our district, the community, the children, for the development of our education, the records are there. You can come for it and then look at those people and there was a clear guideline. I don't also believe that my constituency chairman is not a Ghanaian. I don't also believe that my deputy women organizer is not a Ghanaian and my MP is not a Ghanaian. We must also get to know that the district that we are developing, we don't hurt anybody.
Now to health, and the Ghana Health Service has declared more than 20 vacancies in its service. It is poised to immediately begin recruitment to fill the positions for smooth healthcare delivery. Director General of the service, Dr. Nsiasari, disclosed this to TV3 here in Accra.
Most of those occupying the positions have retired, while others have also resigned. Some have also passed on, affecting the smooth administrative work. Again, the situation has affected the interviews for promotions and other allied jobs. There are more than 20 vacant positions at the Ghana Health Service. Director General Dr. Nsiasari says he has now received clearance to recruit.
There are medical superintendents, of district hospitals, medical directors of regional hospitals, about 1 or 2 of them.
Right.
And there are also deputy directors that we have to fill the position, including appointing the sub-district leaders. We appoint them officially.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Health Service has introduced a new supportive supervision guidelines for employees in the healthcare services. The new guidelines are to streamline operations and introduce new methods of treating diseases for patients. The guidelines are expected to identify the needs of healthcare services to be addressed quickly by government. It would also ensure that newly recruited medical practitioners receive some orientation. The Director General, Dr. Nsiasari, again insisted that recalcitrant officers would be dealt with if they flout the guidelines.
Anybody who is recalcitrant, we tell you that what you are doing, you're going away from what the norms are. You know, all the professionals have regulators.
Exactly.
So we work together with the regulatory bodies, Nursing and Midwifery Council, Medical and Dental Council, Pharmacy Council, Allied Health Council, everybody. So we work with them.
The premises of a fake doctor at Medina is now under lock and key. A combined operation by the Accra Regional Police Command and the Medina Division Police and a team from the Medical and Dental Council was on the premises of the Covenant Clinic to formally lock up the facility. AC Benua Otu reports.
So we are here on the premises of the Covenant Clinic here at Medina, and we are privileged to have the doctor here himself, and he is telling us that this is what he uses to detect, to check people or to diagnose people when they come here. And so this particular machine is able to detect whatever sickness that a patient comes here with. And so this is what he says, a quantum resonance magnetic analyzer. So this is actually what he uses, Alhaji. So how many people have you used this particular machine to work on?
I've used it for a lot of people, for a lot of the patients.
So what are some of the common diseases that you're able to detect?
Oh, all type of diseases. It can diagnose all type of diseases.
And so I'm asking the common type of disease that you're able to detect this with.
All type of diseases. It can diagnose all type of diseases. It can diagnose hypertension, high glucose level, like someone who's having a high glucose level, malaria, typhoid, or improper blood circulation.
Okay, so when it is...
That's a bad circulation into the vessels.
Okay, so when you are done, what next?
All type of heart diseases.
You do diagnose people with heart diseases?
It helps to diagnose the heart disease.
And so have you diagnosed people with heart diseases yet?
They are there, many people.
Here?
Mm-hmm.
Here
many
at your clinic?
At my clinic.
And so after detecting that they have this kind of condition, what's next?
So when the condition is beyond my control, so I do refer a lot of cases. I refer some to 37 military hospital or the Rich hospital.
What document?
Or I do write the report and give it to them.
Is there some you can show to us?
Claim on a play sheet.
That you are?
Mm-hmm.
That you are?
They have to refer the fellow.
What do you write on for the patients?
Oh, just a normal referral note.
Okay, this one is coming from which doctor?
From the Covenant Clinic.
We also see that you have a laboratory and ultrasound room. What about that room too?
The ultrasound, I think.
You think? Or
yes, really. I've just set it up. But I haven't started the work yet. I haven't started yet. I haven't started operating yet.
Are you going to operate it yourself?
No, please. Then we have special sonography for that. We are special technician for that.
Okay. Mm. You said you had your qualification from Europe.
Yes.
Which part of Europe and which university?
That's Belgium, Europe, in France.
Which institution?
In France, Belgium. Belgium school institution. And
so when they get back to them, they will be able to.
I've done all things. All the documents are in court. Mm-hmm. All my documents from France are the court.
And the year you graduated.
All things are there.
And so you are certified to practice as a medical doctor.
Yes, please.
Okay. Mm. Are you a medical doctor?
These are dates.
But this is an environmental health sanitation. That is not a qualification.
I don't talk this.
So I'll bring you more updates on this very story in our subsequent bulletins. Organised Labour has proposed to government to immediately scrap taxes on minimum wage and overtime to reduce the burden on workers. The unions describe the taxes as nuisance and charge government to act swiftly to reduce the growing tension among members.
Organised Labour made observation at a forum to discuss the impact of IMF bailout on workers' income. The forum was also to explain to workers how government would ensure macroeconomic stability. Deputy Minister of Finance Abena Osei-Asare emphasized government decision to set the economy on sound footing. She explained that government has earmarked major policies to be rolled out in the next budget to reduce the burden on workers. But the workers who appeared dissatisfied about the commitment insisted that government should rather consider improving the textiles industry. They charged government to roll out strong policies to reduce its importation into the country. The Deputy Minister assured government decision to provide stimulus packages to growing industries.
What I would suggest is that we speak to the Ministry for Trade and Industry so that they can give them a special, looking at the number of people they employ, they can give them something special so that they can also qualify for the stimulus package. But currently, the stimulus package is helping to revamp their business.
Again, the workers raised concerns about killer taxes on overtime and minimum wage.
Ordinary workers close by 5. Overtime workers, some work until the morning. And the inconvenience, you can imagine, you have to leave your family, you have to leave your kids, and this inconvenience is huge. And so if we get something out of that, and government comes to taxes as if it is a normal earning, it's not fair.
The minister assured to get those concerns addressed immediately.
This tax threshold, like you said, and we said we were going to pick together with all the tax experts, and if possible, we would go back to the system that used to be. We promised TUC that we're going to look into it, and that hopefully, if that should happen, it will be announced in the 2018 budget.
Let's look at some stories. And chief fishermen in the Volta region say some fishers from the Greater Accra region have invaded landing beaches in the region with illegal fishing nets. Now, the concerned chief fishermen also accused some of their counterparts of aiding the illegal fishing activities in the region.
Records available to the Fisheries Commission describe the Volta region as an area with the safest fishing practices. Conversely, this is not the case anymore. There are growing reports of illegal fishing activities in the region. In recent times, a number of illegal fishers have begun intruding the area and somehow drawing some local fishermen into the bad fishing practice. Vice Chairman of the Volta Region National Canoe Fishermen Council, Seth Kade, was the first to raise the red flags at a recent National Fisheries Conference in Accra.
One particular fishing village by name Adina is still using this illegal net. And we are appealing to the government. Those of our friends who flouted the law should be properly brought to book. Either belong to the ruling party or the opposition party. The law must take its course.
This was followed almost immediately by agitation from fishermen at Denu, who want the Ada fisher folk to leave their landing beach over alleged illegal fishing practices. The fisher folk from the Greater Accra region denied the accusation and blamed their host's action on envy. But the visit to some landing beaches along the lower Volta basin proved otherwise. A large number of boats from the Greater Accra region occupied the sea.
Light fishing.
We do not engage in any form of illegal fishing here, but fisher folks from Adam, Pram, and other places are now invading our waters with illegalities becoming threats to our industry.
A casual look at their cash spoke volumes. Our team was compelled to hide and film owing to the reaction by some fishermen at the sight of a camera. This young man opened up and admitted they invaded the Volta region because of the depletion in fish stock in the Greater Accra region.
There are not enough fish in our waters anymore, hence our exodus to this area in order to stay in business. We have been here for the past 5 days and it is proving better.
He denied the allegation their wrong fishing activities is as a result of the dwindling fish stock.
The Inspector General of Police, David Asante Opiuto, has launched 3 sets of uniforms for private security companies in Ghana. The new uniforms replace 774 different uniforms being used by private security companies, sometimes leading to security threats. Meanwhile, the police administration has trained private security liaison officers for the 11 policing regions.
Private security organization in Ghana has grown in strength from 21 in 1999 to over 80 presently. Put together, all these organizations use a total of 774 different uniforms. Some of these uniforms conflict with those of state security agencies and act against the law. The Private Security Organizations Regulation 1992 LI 1571 provides a legal framework to effectively regulate the operations of private security organizations. The police administration has selected 3 sets of uniforms to help standardize the sector with effect from Wednesday, October 25.
By the 25th October 2018, we expect all private security organizations to phase out all their old uniforms and transition into the new approved uniforms. We expect strict compliance from all private security organizations because monitoring shall be conducted vigorously throughout the country, and companies who will default shall be brought to book according to the law.
Director General of Private Security Organizations Unit is DCOP Paul Manley Awene.
The police service has been working for the past 18 years to adopt a common uniform for all private security organizations in the country. But several challenges prevented it from being implemented until now.
Chairman of the Association of Private Security Organizations of Ghana, Captain Retired Tony Aqua, endorsed the idea.
This indeed is a remarkable feat. It is an answer to the long-awaited supervisory body which the Association of the Private Security Organizations Ghana has been advocating for over the years.
Meanwhile, the police administration has selected and trained private security liaison officers to help address challenges in respective regions.
And TV3 is organizing a health screening as part of activities marking its 20th anniversary celebration. The screening is being held at Osu.5, and my colleague Natalie Fort joins us to give us some updates on how the event is progressing. We'll bring you that shortly. You're still watching Media Life. Thanks for staying. Let's go back to our earlier story where I mentioned that TV3, your favorite television station, is organizing a health screening as part of activities marking its 20th anniversary celebration. Now, the screening is being held at Osu.5, and Natalie Fort will join us shortly to give us some updates on how the event is progressing. So over to you, Natalie.
We are at 5 Junction at Osu here in Accra, where a health screening is being held in commemoration with TV3's 20th anniversary. And this is particularly key in as much as there's been a lot of corporate social responsibilities being undertaken by TV3 since we were set up in 20 years ago. And this is the entire Media General Group as well. So it's basically, we've begun this program about 2 hours ago, and already over 200 persons have actually been coming here, most of which are elderly women. And there are various diseases that are being screened for, including eye screening, blood sugar levels, hepatitis B, and many others, as well as registration onto the National Health Insurance. And so I'm joined now by Richard Baden. He's a medical doctor with the Community Health Center. Now, this is it's clear that it's being well received, but what diseases are being screened here this afternoon?
Yes, good afternoon to our viewers. Basically, we are looking at hypertension, we are looking at diabetes, we are also looking at what we call BMI, body mass index. And it's a way of knowing whether you are overweight, you are obese, or your weight is normal for your height. And all these conditions are very important and they are quite prevalent. In fact, most of the cases of heart-associated illnesses that we have, like heart attack, heart failure, and then the strokes, the kidney diseases that we have, they tend to have their roots in these conditions, hypertension, diabetes, and then obesity. So basically, these are the ones that we are looking for because of what they can do. Yes.
Definitely. Now, Richard.
And then we are, like you said, we are also looking at hepatitis B, which is also quite common. Yeah.
I'm interested in knowing, as I said earlier, about 200 and even a bit more than 200 people, as you've been told, have come here so far since we started 2 hours ago. What diseases have been prevalent amongst them all?
Yes, so far we've identified quite a number of people with hypertension and diabetes who did not even know that they had them. And so we are taking measures. We've sent some to nearby clinics for the necessary action to be taken. And so far, I have, on my part, I haven't seen anyone with the hepatitis B yet, but I'm sure my colleagues might have chanced on one or two. Yes, so basically that's what. But we have a number of people whose BMIs are very, very high. That means that they are overweight or obese, and so we are working on them. Yes.
Okay, so lastly, Richard, we are going to be following up with these patients, right?
Yes, definitely we are going to do follow-ups. If you don't mind, I would want us to have a look at a case that we just saw. A woman who is hypertensive and has defaulted her medication for quite some days now. She came in today and BP was 240 over 120, which is very, very high. And so we want to detain her small, give her something to bring down the BP. And then we've actually written a referral for her to go to the nearby clinic so that they can control her BP for her. Yes, we've taken her contacts and everything to ensure that she actually goes to the hospital. We'll follow up on her. Yes.
Excellent. Now, it's so significant the fact that she didn't even know and she just decided to walk in to health screening today and actually found this out. Grateful. That's Richard Baden. He's a medical doctor with a community health center. Now, as I said earlier, this is being organized by TV3, the entire Media General group, and the head of events at Media General is Kenneth Addo. Ken, this is a pretty exciting day for us here at Media General. Tell me what motivated the selection of this community for this project?
Right, thank you very much, Natalie. And of course, basically, I think we are celebrating 20 years and we looked at the concern of community, which is part of our core values as Media General and TV3. And so also being one of the closest communities around us. I mean, we have our office in Osu, we have our office also, our station at Kanda and all. But, you know, we chose Osu. We had our big jam here 2 weeks ago, and so we decided to also, you know, show them that love and impact on their lives. So we selected Osu not because it's the biggest, but actually it's one of the communities we have in Accra that we can touch.
So now many also would be concerned. I mean, it's a very impactful CSR. There are many other communities and other regions, for that matter, that would need this. What's our plan to get across to them?
Of course, we have great plans ahead. I mean, 2017 has been good. 2018 is definitely going to be better. And so other parts of the regions are to expect us as we come along. I mean, the community hospital has been very supportive in that regard. And so we are looking forward to other parts of the country, Takrade, Kumasi, Cape Coast, Koforidua. All of them should be on the lookout as we, you know, get ready for them.
Ken, grateful. That's the head of events at Media General Group. And this project isn't ending now. We, in fact, are going all throughout the day up until 5 p.m. Now, I'm joined by a beneficiary, Mama Toyota. How do you find the program so far?
Oh, TV3 one nation. No, I don't know about Kenya Nichumo Kebane, one nation. No, you keba Unyafra, no. You are one, they were. No, any be a film where you're fine. Never fear, you're fine. Eh, you are. No charm now. Yaga, what I make my Wobbequello. Walk at TV3 being a banner or mobile. Never outside, never bow, and near Kwa no more. I join you.
And she's expressing her gratitude to TV3 for this project and saying it's quite a great social corporate responsibility. Thank you so much, Ma. We wish you the very best. So there you have it. We're here at 5 Junction at Osu in Accra, and this health screening is not ending anytime now. So for those of you who are still at home or at work and have a few hours in the day to spare, you should certainly pass by. Like we saw earlier, the diseases that people did not even know that they had are being identified today. And if there's going to be follow-up sessions, we're going to be keeping in touch with you and making sure that you do visit the hospitals and actually get the needed checks. And so that's basically what we're doing here. It's TV3's corporate social responsibility in line with our 20th anniversary. There's registration onto the National Health Insurance Scheme, eye screening, BMIs, blood sugar levels, hepatitis B, hypertension, and everything else needed. And it's absolutely free. So you should definitely get yourself here. I'm Natalie Fort from 5 Junction here at Osu. Back to you in studio.
Thank you very much indeed, Natalie Fort, for that update. And we'll bring you more in a subsequent bulletins. You're still watching Midday Live. And claimants to the Gastool continue to increase. Another faction has refuted claims by Kelvin Taki, who they claim holds himself as a Gamanche. At a news conference in Accra, the Paramount Stu Jase Chair has vowed to resist the recognition of Kelvin Taki as Gamanche.
In January this year, Niyi Misaki, as one of his tricks in his arsenal, orchestrated an invasion of land gas into the Gamanche Palace in Kaneshi, Accra. The regional security, under the guise of protecting the Gamanche, locked up the palace. Unknown to us, the Regional Security Council was working in close cooperation with Kelvin Taki, who now says is the Gamanche. For your information, Kelvin Taki was one of those who were selected to come for betting. He came and sat before me, and we did not choose him. We did not choose him. So he's been going round. I think he has made himself Gamanche about four or five times at various places. One at Dakuma on somebody's bed. That's the worst one that I want to talk about. Even before Ni was buried, front page of the graphic, he was there saying he's the new Gamanche. And he has got gold on the heart. Guys, we don't wear gold. The Gamanche doesn't wear gold. Again, unknown to us, Kelvin Taki had close connections with officials and with Ishmael Ashite, the Great Accra Minister. Ajiri Blankson, an old man who is behaving like a small boy. He's 80 plus. And he says he's going to put a Gamanche for us. He's from Malaysia, he's not from Abuja. So he's wasting his time. We call with much pain and dismay the installation of the late Dr. Joe Branson as Gamanche. With armored cars, mobile missile launchers, water cannons, and teeming armed policemen who invaded the Gamanche to have Dr. Joe Branson installed. What happened? Our boys are still alive.
Next, we have business.
The business segment is brought to you by
MTN Ghana has shut down 3,000 mobile money agents on its MTN mobile money service for fraudulent transactions in the last 3 months. Now, the action is in line with measures to protect customers of mobile money services.
It includes those who are doing subscriber activations and they don't do it the way the Bank of Ghana, requires that we do when we are activating subscribers on the platform. So, but those that, as I said, those that are fraudulent in nature, then we take it the next step, getting the law enforcement agencies involved.
According to the Bank of Ghana, there are over 22 million mobile money accounts as against 11.6 million regular bank accounts. The central bank identified the overwhelming growth in mobile money accounts across the various platforms as the main attraction for fraudsters. Analytics, budget and reporting manager Solomon Hayford noted the MTN mobile money platform is safe.
The number of fraud complaints that comes versus the number of transactions is not measurable. I mean, if you are looking at it, we are having over 36 million transactions averagely month on month, and you are comparing that to complaints of about 365 averagely in a month. This will, if you are calculating the ratio, is about 0.005%. So it's not even up to 1% of the volume of transactions that we process successfully every month.
The telcos need to keep educating their customers and merchants on personal security on the mobile money platform.
Now to some international business, and trading hall of Hong Kong Stock Exchange has come to an end. The exchange was home to more than 1,000 floor traders in its heydays. Now the exchange was opened in 1986 with a measure of 4 exchanges in the Asian financial hub. The burst follows in the footsteps of global peers such as Tokyo, Singapore and London, which have all closed their doors amid a shift towards electronic trading in recent years. You're still watching Midday Live and we have sports next.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Midday Live here on TV3. My name is Anako Jafre. Time for the sports updates. The FA Cup committee has rescheduled the FA Cup finals between rivals Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Accra Hearts of Oak from the initial 5 p.m. kickoff to 3 p.m. There were growing concerns among stakeholders that the 5 p.m. kickoff time was not safe for fans. The situation necessitated the Ministry of Youth and Sports to compel the committee to bring the game forward to 3 p.m. Sunday's MTN FA Cup finals between Kotoko and Hearts will be the first time the two sides are meeting each other since 1990 in the FA Cup finals. And as we build up to the first ever FA Cup final to be staged in the northern region, Accra Hearts of Oak, between Accra Hearts of Oak and Kumasi Asante Kotoko, board member of Accra Hearts of Oak, Frank Nelson, says they are preparing for the match like any other tournament.
Good for us to be ahead of Kotoko at all times, and this season, if we're ahead of Kotoko, it's not just for the sake of being second or third that is important. They win or winning the league, they are not winning the league, and I don't think that is what our supporters expect. But we'll have a game with them. Come 29th at Temale, that is another important game for us. Well, we're going to prepare that game like every other game. We are preparing it as a Champions League. We are preparing as if we are playing a World Cup. We're preparing as an UEFA Champions League game. For us, that game means a lot for us, and because for so many years we've not gotten the FA Cup title. We have not gotten the league. Since 2008, 2009 was the last time we won the league. So I think this time it's time for us to make amends, and we are playing our greatest rival, which is Asante Kotoko. That's a neutral ground, Temale, but I'm sure Accra will be able to carry the day.
To the camp of Kumasi and Asante Kotoko, and all things being equal, the Porcupine Warriors will sign a fresh deal with English trainer Steve Pollack ahead of the 2017-2018 season. That is according to the club's PR. Obedi Champon, the former Brecum Chelsea boss, replaced Croatian trainer Jatko Logorosic in May and has been able to win the President's Cup and will play in the final of the MTN FA Cup with their bitter rivals Accra Hearts of Oak at the Temale Sports Stadium on October 29 at 3 p.m. If you're a Tottenham fan, this is not good news, but if you're a Manchester United fan, this is some good news for you, because Tottenham striker Harry Kane has been ruled out of his side's trip to Manchester United on Saturday with a hamstring injury. Kane scored twice as Spurs beat Liverpool 4-1 on Sunday before being substituted in the 88th minute. A 24-year-old is the leading Premier League scorer this season with 8 goals. A tweet from Spurs said the injury was a minor strain to the left hamstring of Kane. Kane has scored 13 goals in 12 appearances in all competitions for Tottenham this season, who sit third in the Premier League table. Manchester United are second on the table, level on points with third place Spurs. All the sports here on Midday Live. My name is Anako Jaffe. Thanks very much for watching. Always a pleasure serving you. And we say a happy 49th birthday to the president of the Ghana Football Association, Kwesi Nyantechi. Good afternoon.
All right, thank you very much indeed, Kojo Afre. And we move to entertainment on a rather sad note. Few days after the funeral rites of Papa Yankson, another veteran musician, that's Irama Bedu, has died. Meanwhile, there has been a call by some industry stakeholders to institute a Hall of Fame for aging musicians to serve as a remembrance when they're no more.
That soothing voice of the A's high life musician Irama Bedu will no more be heard. She has died at age of 72. Her death comes few days after the burial of veteran musician Papa Yankson. Irama passed away at the Fijasa Hospital in the Ashanti region after battling with an undisclosed illness. The 72-year-old was known for songs like Medofwa Dadami, Kom Kom and Obatime. Irama Bedu's last public performance was in 2013 when she treated audience old-time tunes at the Music of Ghanaian Origin Moko Awards at the National Theatre.
And following the call for the Hall of Fame for musicians, Daddy Bosco, one of the persons who've come up strong for that. But this afternoon, we're here to talk about Irama Bedu and then what is being done for musicians in Ghana. And I'm being joined by Rex Omar. He's the chairman of GAMRO. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
And our condolences to the music fraternity here
Thank you.
in Ghana. Now, when you heard about her death, what came to mind? What time did you hear it?
Actually, somebody sent me a text message yesterday, but I didn't see it till this morning. So when I saw it, I was kind of taken aback, but I also know that we have a couple of our musicians who are very, very old. So it looks like this kind of things, we have to be prepared for it, because once a person is born, one day he or she will die anyway. So I was kind of sad, but at the same time, death is part of life. So we just have to do what we have to do to support the family.
Now, Papa Yankson was buried not long ago, and then today this news comes up again.
Yeah.
And every time these issues come up, then we realize that this is supposed to be done for musicians and that is supposed to be done for musicians. And then we talk about a Hall of Fame. But going forward, what do we do as a country to celebrate and archive the success stories of these musicians and then aging musicians as well, and those we've lost?
You know, I think throughout my artistic life, I've been advocating that a state called Ghana must take this creative industry serious. This is the only industry that, though it had almost a zero government investment, yet it kind of thrives in a way. You know, I keep saying that the amount of money we invest in only football, if we spend 10% to put in the creative arts, it will create more jobs and then create more wealth done. But as a country, our priorities have always been wrong. So if Ghana as a state will now stop behaving and thinking as if when you are born with talent and you happen to be part of the creative industry, then it's like you are cursed, you know. We have to, it's part of development. So state of Ghana must invest in this creative industry. We keep using words like industry. Do we really have an industry? We don't.
Okay. Now, before we talk about Gamro shortly, you're a musician, you've paid your due, and you're still paying your due. Do you get scared that in your old age you might go through some of the challenges that your colleagues are going through?
If I'll be honest with you, when I got to age 40, I was scared. That's why I stopped playing music for 10 years.
Reason being?
Reason being, there's nothing to hold on to. Anything that is like you're popular and your music is all over the place, but it doesn't reflect in your pockets, you know. And I've seen a whole lot of my predecessors and old musicians who have nothing to show. So I decided to go into something else to sustain myself.
Business?
Yes, to protect, because there are things that you do that Ghana will see it as business. Music is not one of them.
Now, to Gamro, there's been issues about ghost names, and how has this affected your operations? What is being done about it?
We are working towards it, because if you look at our history, where we're coming from Kosga to now Gamro, it's been political, you know. So one or two, this group will put a lot of names so that they'll have people to support him, that kind of stuff, you know. So right now what we're trying to do is we're coming out with a new welfare system. But myself and my board, we have vowed that we will not spend our monies to pay for ghosts. So if you are a ghost, just get lost. We are paying for people that we know are true members of Gamro. If mistakenly your name is not part of it, come out. Let us see you. Let us feel that you are not a ghost. Let us see that you have assigned your right for Gamro and you qualify, and then we support you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I have been speaking to Rex Omar, as the chairman of Gamro. And once again, our condolence to the music fraternity here in Ghana. And that's all for this afternoon. Thank you so much for watching Midday Live. Enjoy the rest of our programs. My name is Wendy Lai. You do have a good afternoon.